Okay, so in the last episode I introduced a new concept, which was the decorator. So a decorator is something you can add to a node, to any node actually, and it will change slightly the way that this node behaves. So this is to add some extra functionalities. It often has to do with conditions. So, and the example that we saw, we had this simple parallel that was running, and then this selector that was used in combination with a guard condition, which allow us to modify a little bit like the way that this is processed. So the guard is a kind of decorator, and what it does is just like it will check if the condition is true, and if it's true, then it will execute the node. If it's not true, it will fail. It will like fail the node and won't even execute it. So, for example, I can add it here to my main thing, and I can choose guard. And let's say that I will go key pressed. I'm just gonna add a little delay before. Okay, I'm just gonna show you, because otherwise, it's just like this is a little bug. Maybe I mean, like when I type Control Space to start the thing, then I'm actually pressing a key at that moment, so it won't like execute this. So I'm just gonna add a little delay to give me time to remove my fingers from well, just 1 second. Okay, so from the thing, I'm gonna reset and play. Okay, so yeah, like you see now, I wasn't pressing a key when I reached the guard condition, so the simple parallel failed. Now let's say that I will hold the key, so I'm just gonna wait. So I'm gonna press a key now. Okay, so I'm just gonna press any key. I'll press S. So keep S pressed, and you see that key press was true now. So now it entered. Now I can release the key because it only checked it. So that's the thing. It only checked it once. Okay, when I entered. So so that's one kind of decorator. Now there's several others. We're just gonna remove this. I'm gonna go Control Shift N just to reset my tree, and we're just gonna start again from scratch with something really simple. So I'm just gonna finish with these very simple decorators. So I'm gonna, let's say that I'm gonna do a OSC send, and I'm gonna do something like the following. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna do a sequence, and this is very typical. So I'm gonna do a sequence, and in the sequence I'm gonna go blackboard set with, I'm gonna set a certain value. So let's say counter. I'm gonna initialize it to 0. So I need to put it outside of it. So control left arrow, control up. Okay, so the first thing that's gonna happen is gonna be initialized to 0. And now here I'm gonna go Control C to copy it. Just gonna go down, Control V to paste it, Control E to edit it. And just give me a second. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to set now the value of counter to be $counter plus 1. Okay, so let's just run it just to see what's happening. So okay, so it's instantly executes. You have the counter as set as 0, goes in, and it sets it to counter plus 1, which is now 1. Okay. So so let's say that that's actually not what I want. What I'd like to do is to repeat it. So here's one way to do that. And what we're going to do is we're going to do OSC send. We're going to send that value, okay? Or you know what? I'm just going to print it. I'm just going to print it using text $counter. Okay, I'm just going to print it. So again, if I run this, you'll see that it prints 1. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to also add a little delay after. So here's what's happening here. I set the counter to its new value, I print it, and I wait for 1 second. Again, I run it, prints 1, delay, end. Okay, now just gonna collapse this, and what I want to show you here is, let's say that we want to repeat this, okay, 10 times. So what we can do is we can add a decorator, Control D, and I'm going to add a while decorator. And I'm going to wait while the counter is smaller than 10, okay? So while it's smaller than 10, the sequence will be repeated. Right, let's see what happens. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then it reaches 10. Counter 10 is not smaller than 10, so it's exit. And you notice that at each step it was running, it was always waiting for 1 second because of this delay. Okay? Another variant on this while operation is, let's say that I don't really care that it's constant time. I just want instead I want it to run for a certain time. Okay, so there is a decorator that is also called delay. It's a bit confusing because it has the same name, but it's really a delayed decorator in this case. No, sorry. That's not true. It's called chrono. So Control E to edit, and I'm going to replace this while for a chrono, and this chrono is going to run for 5 seconds. Okay, I'm just going to run it for 5 seconds. So let's see what happens. So this one is going to run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, it just stopped. Okay, because of the 5 seconds, not because of the counter. Okay, so for example, if I remove, or let's say that I remove this delay, I'm just gonna deselect it here. So then, like, this will go really fast because I remove the delay here, but it will really go for 5 seconds and then it stops. Okay, so you can imagine you could have that with like a OSC SEN, for example. So you can replace this with a OSC SEN. I'm not gonna do it. Okay, so this is one kind of decorator. Now these decorators, chrono, you can use it on any other thing. Like, I mean, I can add a chrono here, right? I can do chrono. I'm gonna print the counter for, I don't know, 0.5 seconds. Chrono 0.5. Chrono 0.5. Okay, what? Okay, I don't know, something, again, little bug here. So let's see if I can, maybe I can do it like this. Just gonna try one last time. Okay, it doesn't work. Well, whatever. So it doesn't recognize it as a float. Doesn't matter. I'm just gonna type one. I'm gonna print 1 here. Okay, reset. And so you see that now each time it's printing it for 1 second, but several times, because this here, I'm just gonna repeat it. You see, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. That's because each time it goes in, this one is repeated. Okay, you see that it's running right now, so it's constantly printing, but each time for 1 second. But this this parent one will control how often this whole interior, all of these nodes are executed. Okay, so and then there's a few other ones. I mean, there's the constant. The constant is really simple. Just like it will completely change the behavior of the subnode. So see, just like if I have a constant decorator, it will just fail the node. It won't even execute it. Okay. But really what I want to show you now is one last very interesting decorator called randomize. Now, the randomized decorator is special. It only works for it only works actually for sequences and selectors. Okay. What the randomized decorator does is that you remember that the sequence executes all its children in a certain order, one after the other, and as soon as one fails, it fails. The selector does the same, but as soon as one succeeds, it succeeds. The children of a sequence or a selector are always performed in order from top to bottom. Now the randomized decorator is going to change this. The randomized decorator is going to execute these in random order. Okay, so I'm just going to remove these guys here because they're not really. I'm going to keep this one, the delay. It's interesting. And let's say I'm going to go text. So text 100, text 200. Text 300, and I'm gonna put a little delay at the beginning. Okay, so, and I'm gonna just deactivate this. We don't need this. Okay, so normally if I don't have, I'm just gonna remove the randomize for now just to show you. So normally I have the sequence. It's gonna go like, it's gonna wait for 1 second, then go 100, 200, 300. That's, you know, what it does, the sequence. But if I add a decorator with a randomized decorator to it, then it's not necessarily going to go in the same order. So you see that, well, it started with a delay, but that's out of random. Then it went 100, 300, 200. Let's see if I run it again. Delay 300, 200, 100. Well, I mean, like, actually, it's not clear that the delay got executed first. Let's add another, because it's just the other ones are running so fast. Let's add another delay here. Okay, so this one runs, then this one, then the other one, 200, 300, 100. And it also works Control E. If I change this for a selector, I'm going to have a similar phenomenon. But don't forget that in this case, in the case of a selector, as soon as one node succeeds, it will succeed. So this allows you to make really a random selector. Okay, so each time I run it, it's going to select a different children. Okay, until it succeeds. Of course, if some of them fail, then it's going to try again with another different random element. So this completes the presentation. Like I said, you can always go on GitHub /qualified/self/QControl, and from there you can go in prototypes, BehaviorTreeProto, and go on the README, and you have all of the commands that you can anyway find out, you know, with this button here. But on top of this, you have all these references for each node, and these references explain what each node type does, what kind of how you can describe them. So for a sequence, for example, I could, or for a selector, I could also add some kind of a comment. Okay, it's one example. So it's just for helping me remember. It's just one example. So you see that the selector, you can either just type selector, or you can give it a description like I did, or you can have another option called restart, which I'm not going to enter into detail here, but here it explains what it does. So this is really sort of more of a technical reference. It's not super sexy, but you know, like if you get lost, you can always try to find your way through this, or you can simply send me an email, of course. So that completes the presentation, and I hope that you enjoyed it, that you're gonna enjoy the prototype.